I'm sorry if what I did offended you. I was in a dark place. I'm human. I was young and have now grown as a person. I have depression and anxiety. I'm the actual victim. I don't think I actually did anything wrong. I would never do the things it's been proven I've done.
Yo.
Yo.
What's good, creamers?
Yo.
Creamers.
Yo. Aiden, do the thing.
What's good, creamers?
What's good, creamers? Welcome back to episode 171 of the Half and Half podcast. As usual, I am Vasanth Ramdas, joined by my award-winning, Oscar-nominated, but not really, co-host, Aiden Mangan.
Hello. Usually you ask me how I'm doing.
I thought the sort of like grand introduction would really.
I don't know. It kind of made me freeze because usually I get Aiden, how you doing? And then I'll be like, good, how you doing? And then we get rolling from there. But you know.
And for those of you who are rolling your eyes,
episode 171 is about a good time to start breaking format. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and for those of you who might be like Oscar nominated, what are you talking about? Never wrong, just early.
Also, speaking of breaking format, next week, Vasanth, I'll lead in with yo, and you'll hit them with the what's good, creamers.
We should just do that for like, I mean, April 1st probably falls on a day that doesn't make sense for our release setup right now, which is bi-weekly. But if it does, maybe we'll do that. We'll just flip roles, you know?
Yeah.
See what it's like to be in the other shoes. Yeah, Aiden will edit everything.
I'll edit the episode and it'll just probably sound like garbage.
You edit the shorts and the subtitles are just from a completely different clip.
Oh man.
But yes, we are back. How are you doing? There, you know, I thought an Oscar-nominated, award-winning co-host could introduce himself, but yeah, I understand. I have the red carpet treatment. So how are you doing?
I'm gonna give you the Adrian Brody treatment. Long-winded, a lot of breaks in between. You know,
saying a lot but saying a little.
Yeah, saying a lot but saying a little, kind of just things like we need love in this world. Happy for Adrian though. Good performance.
I think he was just like honestly probably a little overwhelmed by what it would. It seemed like he genuinely was like very.
Oh, I believe it meant a lot to him. Absolutely. Like
I think it meant so much to him it kind of broke his brain a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's been 24 years since his last Oscar, and like let's just be completely real. Like outside of a few good roles, it's been up and down for Brody since then, you know. So it probably means a lot to him that he's like, I'm back. Probably is what he feels like.
But he's not the only one who's back. We're back too. Second episode in a row, baby. We're consistent again. Hope you guys enjoyed the last episode. Talked about the Super Bowl halftime shows, mainly, as well as sort of a little bit of like, it seems like a true postmortem on the beef that was such a big part of last year with Kendrick and Drake. Also, as you saw, we've got some new stuff in the sense that we will. I do plan on putting out shorts for each episode. At the time, just one, but you'll get a short as well, which can be a fun clip of a moment that we think is entertaining from the episode. So some, like I said, more content, trying to add to the half and half portfolio as far as like what we release and the ways we sort of engage with you guys as far as the content we put out. So as always, we have the podcast, short form content here and there as well, which for now are just going to be clips from the episode. Maybe we'll expand what we do there at a later date. The YouTube channel also exists mainly as another place to listen to the audio of the episode, as well as watching the short form content there. So hope you've enjoyed the return of Half and Half. We're also on the Instagram at the Half Pod. We do post new song selections for the Bloombox playlist. So if you're interested in just getting some music into your playlists, see what we're listening to, go ahead and give that a look. But all in all, we're back. Aiden, seemed like you're doing all right. Happy with how the Oscars went. We watched it together. You won our little game of guess the award winner. So
yeah, I just want to say
movie knower Aiden Mangan.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, okay? I watch all these movies, yet they still doubt me, okay? because we
You
started
got off
out.
to a rough start, a pretty rough
Got off to a
start.
rough start. I started 2 for 7. Vasant, he hit his first 5 perfectly.
That wasn't why it was a rough start, though. It's because a certain somebody was doing better than you.
Wait, what? Oh, because Anna was?
Anna's not a movie knower.
She's gonna be real offended when she hears this episode.
She likes Cocaine Bear. We can, there's an intervention that you will need to stage at some point about her choice
Yeah,
in certain movies.
I don't quite understand the Cocaine Bear love.
She's so funny. She simultaneously likes like classics like My Cousin Vinny and Goodfellas, but then also will defend Cocaine Bear until the end of time.
Also, Vasant's inherent racism there. My girlfriend's half Italian. He just listed 2 movies.
Those are
about
like
Italian
those are like
people.
2 movies I know she really likes. Okay, I mean she likes Substance too. Substance, great movie.
Yeah, the Substance is great. But yeah, I mean, I think was I losing to her at one point? Was I down like
Early,
1
yeah. I think it was like
early?
a
Okay.
one score difference.
Yeah. I think I have the final ballots here. Yeah, Vasant, he started strong. He was 5 for 5 out the gate. But look at that, Vasant. You only finished with 9 correct out of 23 categories.
I went cold.
Yeah, no, he started. He thought he was a shooter for real. Like he really was out
Kept
here.
shooting.
He really.
I
was
will
out
say
here.
there weren't many where I felt like I was like super off. I was like, that would be like a lot of them were like, that makes sense. That'd be like the second pick. You know what I mean? Like the only ones I was
Well,
like really
we
upset
can always
by.
we can always have a little postmortem. Like about
A little copium, yeah.
Yeah, hindsight's
There were,
20/20,
and we'll talk about the
big man.
Oscars more in depth
Uh-huh.
later in the
Oh,
episode.
but
there
before
was
that, I just want to say 13 out of 23 for Aiden Mangan.
yeah,
So,
over 50.
yeah.
You and the Brutalist heated up at the same time.
Yes, me and the Brutalist both we were twizzed up on the awards there.
Twizzed up.
I also want to point out though, I don't know if we'll put a picture of this out there, but it doesn't matter. There was a line for like the name and score, so you can put your name there, and I put Aiden in quotes movie Mangan because everyone walks up to me like, "Yo, what's up, movie? How you doing, movie?"
Oh, look, it's movie Mangan.
It's movie Mangan.
He's watching Craven.
So there was a thing on the bottom that's you put your name and then the score next to it. Vasant just missed that apparently because his name is at the top of the paper.
Rebellion. Don't let them tell you what to do.
I'm just saying, like, if
become ungovernable.
You are becoming ungovernable. But what I will say is that if I did go down the education route this month, I would have taken off 5 points for that.
The education route of predicting the Oscars.
I'm saying, look, if I really wound up becoming a teacher out of college and everything, my instincts, I would have been like, no, we're taking those 5 points back.
You picked Amelia Perez for Best Picture? Zero. Not even.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. Anything else does not matter. That's 0 points on the day. Yeah, no, that was a fun time though. That was a fun time. I'm happy.
Good ceremony.
I'm happy y'all. Yeah, it was a good ceremony. And again, like you said, we'll talk about it later. But I'm happy y'all got into it with me. That was a good time.
Yeah, we'll dive into that later because Aiden, there's something important that needs to be addressed.
Yeah. I agree.
We
this
haven't.
Is really important.
Yeah, this is really important. We haven't. I haven't.
Not yet. Don't say we.
I don't want to rope Aiden into this.
Yeah.
First, I try and break format with him by, introducing him in such a nice way. He was taken aback, and now I'm trying to rope him into my own sins. But obviously, we took our hiatus for a while, and we wanted to come back with some renewed zeal, really bring out the best in each other and the best in our content. But you as our audience deserve that. But we cannot be our best selves. I cannot be my best selves and be, try to be the genuine, creamer that I am and lie to my fellow creamers. So I'd like to set the record straight. Right now, when you're listening, I've probably put some apology music under this. No, I won't be a ukulele. Don't worry. I don't know how to play it, and that'd also be aggravating to listen to for more than like 10 seconds. But
I think Hannah got a ukulele for Christmas. I could just borrow that and lay down a track real quick.
Yeah, or ask her if she wants to lay down a track. Sure, an original composition. Before I get into it, I got to do So, you guys may have heard the news. I'll have a twit longer and a paste bin and any other sort of long form written apology in the description.
And a link to our Patreon.
And a link to our Patreon, so you can support us during these troubling times. But yeah, so I haven't been completely honest with the creamers, so I'm just gonna come out and say something. It might get me admonished. It might get me in trouble. You might stop listening to us after this. This might burn bridges, destroy relationships, separate households even. But I'm gonna come out and say it. It's something no one's ever said before. I really don't like Taylor Swift. It's true. It's true. I just don't like her music like that. I've been lying to myself in an attempt to at least kind of fit in with the crowd. Oh, I don't love her, but I get it. You know, I do throw in one of those, throwing out, I like a couple of her songs. Oh, I like this album. I like that album. She's not bad. You know, I throw in some of those. I don't talk about her. We're not getting into her personal life. That's irrelevant to this. We're talking about the music only. I'd like to clarify her as a person, her relationships, all of that. That is irrelevant to this
I'm here to talk
conversation.
about her as a person. No, I'm kidding.
This is your apology. This is my apology. Don't hide it. You can apologize. Next episode, Aiden will apologize by saying he hates her as a person. And
I never said that. I never said that.
That's what's coming next. That can't a Freudian slip. He knows that's what's coming next episode. But yes. And you might be like, oh, well, what's the lie? Some of you are probably listening who know me and are like, oh yeah, I know you don't like her that much. But the lie is, in order to try and fit in and seem like someone who doesn't like her but is in the more neutral camp, I've committed a cardinal sin amongst reputable music critics. I've been juicing the scores.
This is the part that's unforgivable to me. The scores like matter so little, you know? Like they really don't matter that much. We do okay, Vasant. We do like an hour and a half long episode talking.
This is the hard hitting tell all.
Like
this is a hard hitting tell all.
We've had Lindsay on to do this. We've had my brother's fiance to do this, and we've been honest about how we feel about the music with her. Major Swiftie, she is okay with the fact that she knows that I don't like Torture Poets Department. But she
didn't even love it that much by her standards.
What was it? Why did you feel like you needed to lie?
So I would like to clarify. See, Aiden here. He's such a great journalist. He's really asking the hard hitting questions. I would like to say that my opinions that I expressed about the music were pretty much true. Like how I said the songs made me feel, or some of the things that I didn't like, or even the things that I will give her credit for, those are genuinely based in truth. Like I'm not lying when I say oh, this song actually had a little decent, this song was actually written well, but just performed not great, or the instrumentation here was actually kind of decent. I give credit to those things, but so it's the actual explanation of what works and what doesn't work for me with the music we have reviewed on the show is true. I do mean those things. But I will at times just recuse myself when we talk about certain tracks and things like that, because I don't have anything nice to say, so I'm like, I'll just let you guys talk about it. So I do want to put that clarifying statement out there. I did not lie about my actual takes. It's the score that is fraudulent.
This is it's.
I know.
It makes me laugh because
they'll never trust me again.
They won't. First of all,
they'll never call me Vasant Music Ramdas ever again.
I'm always, you know me, I'm always top on the episodes, getting on the links and be like, "What's up, music?" Vasant,
this is no laughing matter. A lot of people have been hurt by this. I should take this more seriously.
A lot of people have been hurt like this.
I'm laughing because of how uncomfortable I am with how much I have hurt people with my actions.
Exactly. Yeah. No, this is very serious. We're going to we're making a donation to the Eras tour.
Because Lord knows it needs more money.
Yeah, I'm kidding about it, obviously. So Vasant, I want to ask this again. So you said you felt like you kind of wanted to recluse yourself. What about Taylor Swift particularly made you go I don't want to be too mean? Is it how tall she is? Because that would really offend me as a short person.
No, because I'm pretty sure. How tall is she?
I think she's like 5'11" or something.
Okay, I'm
She's like
taller
pretty
than her
tall.
anyway, so that I'm not like scared of her height.
Oh, Mr. 6 feet. Oh.
I mean, her boyfriend. Actually, I'm not scared of her boyfriend either because he folded when he
He
was
did
asked
fold.
about
He
the
folded.
president dissing his girl. You know what I'm saying? So I'm
Yeah,
not
he
scared of him
folded.
either. Big football man.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So with her, like, they're actually. This is the part where it stops being funny for people, and they're like, "Ah, this is just copium." But like, or this is uninteresting. But honestly, the reason is like I this is before I even met you. I like definitely developed a reputation with like my friends and some of the people I knew more as like acquaintances that like I just like don't like shit that's popular, which I push back on even now. Like I mean,
Hmm.
back then that probably had some truth to it, but like I push
I
back on
mean,
that. I think I
we
like a lot of things that are incredibly
yeah.
popular. Like
I mean,
liking
I think
Kendrick
like I
Lamar is not an interesting take. Liking certain superheroes like Batman or Superman or Spider-Man.
and
Liking
I think
Pokemon. Like I
I
like
just
things that
want to
are
say
incredibly
a little
popular.
context too for this. I think like a lot of that probably was due to your music taste, and I know this because Vasanth, you and I got into rap for like through similar like means. We're both like reform backpack kids with hip hop.
Yeah, I
Like
used to
so
be,
I
and that's
imagine that's like what
genuine.
it was. Like
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's genuine, right? I used to like not like Young Thug, or I used to not really get Future and why he was so
yeah,
popular,
yeah,
or I didn't get why like certain hit songs were hit songs. But now I'm
yeah.
definitely much more like I'm big fans of like I will say like Future's quality is definitely
It's not what it
inconsistent
was. Yeah, yeah,
to say it nicely, but I
yeah.
appreciate what he's done for music like in his older prime releases. I like
Mhm.
Thug a lot more, even though his albums are all over the damn place in terms of quality, that there's still tracks from him that really shine. And
Yeah.
I mean, in general now, like I'm also try to be a little more like understanding of like stuff in rap that isn't for me, but I can see the appeal. I'm still critical. Like I can still just not like things. I can still say
Mhm.
this isn't for me, or I can say I think this sucks. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
yeah,
like I like for an example of that, I think that's like really important to like kind of like lock into too. Again, everybody has their own taste, and that's fine. Like when I say Vasanth and I were like reform backpack hip hop fans, that's because like our tastes have expanded. But I think Vasanth and I would both like agree that we prefer hip hop that is like more lyrical. You know,
the backpack
not
sentiments are
yeah,
still present, but we're just more like open-minded and like we'll
yeah.
enjoy more
Like
things.
for example, like I like Playboy Cardi. I like some Playboy Cardi songs, but it's not my typical bag of hip hop. You know, it's not what I typically go to. However, I can look at Playboy Cardi and like certain songs of his and say, like, oh, that's creative, that's interesting what he's doing. And then I can look at Ken Carson, for example, and be like, oh, that is derivative of another.
Yeah, it's just
And
lamer,
like
worse
it's
Cardi.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't.
So like
I'm like
that's
less
the
of a Cardi
distinction I
guy
make
than
about
you are, and I still
that.
like some of the songs. I'll still have fun and like rage out and whatnot. But
For
I
some, we're 25. We're at the end of our raging days,
yeah, the
brother.
rage era is over. But I will still like I still get his appeal. Like I
Yeah.
understand why he's popular. I just don't touch that. But like yeah, I don't like Ken Carson. Like there's a lot of modern artists that like I fuck with or I just don't listen to, but I understand why people like them.
Mhm.
Um like I've never been like a big NBA young boy or like Dirk kind of guy, but like I've heard some tracks from them where I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of like this, or I kind of see the appeal for the
I mean, I
people
get
that
like
do
yeah.
really
For
like them.
an example for me, like this is one that I think a lot of people get angry at me for. I think The Weekend is like pretty good typically,
Hmm.
but like I don't get like The Weekend hype. Like that's like like I'm like oh
Second
I
coming
like
of MJ type shit that he.
exactly like Weekend I'm like I like a good amount. I like a decent amount of his hits, you know. But like I even like Dawn FM's definitely like my favorite work of his, and I would say that's probably like a to go back to our now much question scores. That's probably like an 8 out of 10 type album for me. But that would kind of be like the peak of my weekend
Yeah,
enjoyment. You know, like everything else from I'm like, oh, it's like pretty good. Like
yeah,
that's how I feel
that's
about him.
fair.
But
I'm
like
also
again,
like
that's it's just how we have our taste. Like that's just what it is.
exactly. And then similar in the same breath, I can also still admit there's things I don't like. Like Ian, he fucking sucks. I will
Ian
never
sucks
understand why
so
he's
bad,
popular.
man.
And I like I said, I can even maybe see why he's popular, but that doesn't mean I have to like it or
I mean,
fuck
yeah,
with
'cause
him,
we
or what
can
he
just say
even represents musically. You know, him being a white rapper, it comes with its own territory, being in hip hop, and I just don't fuck with his music. I don't know him as a person, and that's the
and
other thing too. Like
he
some of
doesn't
these
like his
critiques,
music. He doesn't like his music because he is white. Book it.
yeah, the allegations are true. I'm afraid
Yeah.
by coming out and admitting I lied about my Taylor Swift neutralist takes.
Yeah.
My
But yeah.
moniker as a Yakub hater has grown. But
But yeah,
yeah,
to
to get
tie it
back to
back a
her,
little bit, yeah.
um, yeah, so like with her, it's like I'm not ashamed to admit it, like at least in college, that's how I was. Um, it's kind of scary to not like her, honestly, because like there's two parts to it. One, I was much more online when we were in college, and her
Mm,
fan base, by people who are fans of her, who are in her fan base, like Anna and Lindsay, will admit it's an insane fan base. Like the loud parts of the Swiftie fan base are crazy people.
correct, yeah.
People who like her will tell you that and
Yeah.
are like aware of like the unfortunate territory that saying you're a Taylor Swift fan comes with, because people who are online or maybe have been on a forum or two will be like, "Oh my god, those are crazy people." You
Yeah.
know? So, yeah, as someone who was much more online in college, I just kind of like grew a habit of like don't poke that beehive because it's not worth it and my
Mm,
address might end up on the internet. So I just kind of naturally was like, okay, don't have strong takes on her. And then the second thing was like I kind of wanted to get it. I'm like, "Oh my god." Like and I have this take now that she is like, I don't know how many other artists I will see in my lifetime that will even get close to the level of popularity that she is at. Like she is one of the, if not maybe the biggest musical brand ever. It's insane what the Eras tour did financially, like how well it did, and her popularity and her just like the impact she's had on big properties like the NFL by just being associated with it more. It's insane what her presence can do for things. Like that's incredible. And no matter what I say about her that's negative, you literally can't take that away from her. The money, the success, the fame that she's got, it's undeniable.
power and the
Right?
money and the power.
Money and the power. Right, yeah. So like when I'm in college and high school even and everyone likes this person and her music and it's like ubiquitous, you feel weird not getting it a little bit, right?
Hmm.
So I really tried to, and then I sort of convinced myself that I could get with it a little bit, And it's also
Yeah.
because like, like and I do this still sometimes. Like I don't like sometimes I come off in a way that feels like I'm shitting on people's taste or whatever. And so she's so popular that I was like maybe let's not accidentally broach that territory.
Hmm.
Right? And I
Sure.
still think you can dislike something without shitting on someone for it. It's something I'm definitely much better at now than it was when I was a backpacker, you know, rap attack, lyrical miracle type dude in high
Yeah.
school. But yeah, I think as all things in life, a realization will sometimes come to you. And for many people, sometimes that comes when you hit rock bottom or when maybe you have like a near death experience or, something really, tragic happens or maybe something good happens and it causes you to reflect. For me, this was watching a Hive Mind video. I'm sure many of you have had come to
I
Jesus
knew it.
moments
I
while
knew this is
watching
what
Hive Mind.
I knew this is where this came from. Oh my god. Okay, yes, sorry. I I was listening to this while I was working today, and I was like, I think this is exactly what spurred this on for Rasan. So keep
Yeah,
going.
so I text one of our group chats that me and Aiden are in. We're big group chatters. Can't yap alone. We got to yap with other people.
Yeah.
Maybe in a different universe, this podcast has 6 people on it for no reason,
Oh,
and
we
is
tried
unlistenable. Yeah, it's the worst episode of the show. I love the guys on it, obviously, but my God, it fucking sucked.
that.
And if you listen to it and you're still listening, salute.
Salute.
Y'all
Going
listen the
hard on
right
them
way. You're
creamers.
going hard on them creamers. Um,
Salute.
So Hive Mind, who it should come as no surprise, have definitely like been a bit of a creative inspiration to us. We've done some brackets, definitely inspired by videos that they've made, and to this day, I think we both still enjoy their videos, and I think they're
Mhm.
great. They're one of my favorite YouTube channels, YouTube duos
I quite
out.
enjoy them. I think they seem like nice boys.
Yeah, they seem like nice lads, and I'd love to give them a firm handshake.
That'd be great.
Um,
Yeah.
be fantastic. But they did a video where it was essentially just one of their brackets. Their fans had selected songs, and then they were going to kind of decide which ones would advance in that bracket style format.
Yep.
And two Taylor Swift songs made it on their bracket. I 100% think the second one was a joke. I agree with them because the second song is 22. And I don't think even Taylor Swift fans who like probably think that song's very fun, don't think anyone would say that's her best song.
Hmm.
Right, because it's a best song ever bracket. I don't know if 22 is like.
I mean, you got to realize those Swifties, they're lethal in the cut. You never know.
I know they're lethal and they think that all 64 songs should be Taylor Swift songs, but 22 feels like a fun song, but not like a best song ever song. Like
I
there's songs
agree.
I think are
Yeah.
super fun, but I wouldn't put them on a best song ever bracket.
Yeah.
Because being fun is just part of the equation of I think what makes a great song. For me. But the other song on there is All Too Well. And I will say this about All Too Well. I do enjoy it only when I'm watching the music video because I actually think the music video is pretty well done. I believe she directed it, which is
Yes.
impressive.
Yes.
And I like the music video. I think it adds a really nice visual element to the storytelling. And I think that's also one of her, the 10-minute version is one of her best written songs as well. Like, I think it's very poignant. Like, she doesn't add a lot of extra language sometimes. And I think that helps the points come across really strongly. And I think if you know the whole lore with Jake Gyllenhaal and Taylor Swift, it makes the song hit that much harder. The video's visuals really add to that as well. So, All Too Well, 10-minute version, video and song packaged together, I think are really good. Song on its own, it's a bit hard for a 10-minute listen for me just because the instrumentation doesn't go anywhere. Like she
Yeah.
does stuff, like she gets really emotive and really hits the notes hard, especially like sort of in the climax, but instrumentation doesn't do much for me. And like songs that are that long usually kind of have like movements, like there's sections. This one, not
Hmm.
really. But that's neither here nor there, right? Because I don't dislike or I don't like have issues with the song the same way that Riley and Graydon, or Graydon in particular from Hive Mind did.
Hmm.
But they have a bit of a talk, and it kind of like broke my brain open because Riley says at one point, he's like, why do people make it so complicated to like or dislike her? Or, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But he says something along the lines of, you can't just like her. You have to be obsessed with her, is what
Hmm.
he says. And obviously, you know, we've had Lindsay on the show. We know people who like Taylor Swift who we wouldn't describe as obsessed with her. But the general sentiment of obviously, once again, the very loud part of the Swiftie fan base, the hey, Drake said it. She's the biggest gangster in the game.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's
The fans in the online streets are terrifying. So you know, like I get like that loud part of the fan base, it makes it really difficult to have an opinion on her, whether you like her or not. And I don't know why, but like that moment on a Monday night, I was worried that the guys in the group chat thought I'd been drinking on a Monday, which I never do. No weekday getting hammered. We don't do that. It's not a good habit.
hmm.
Um, unless you're listening to this drinking some beers, drink on, brother.
Yeah, it's okay.
Um,
You can have a few beers. You can have a few beers during the half and half
just
episode.
put the keys down.
Put the
Thank
keys
you.
down.
Thank you. Keep those there. Yep. Okay. I know you're playing this at your favorite bar on the jukebox.
Absolutely. Going on the touch tunes.
The Touch Tunes Half and Half podcast episode 171.
Yep.
I really want to listen to his confession. But I just thought to myself, and I was just like, I don't like her music. I just don't like it as much as I pretend to. And this is the part that's gonna get a little. It's not me. If you like it, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not about her as a person. I have nothing against white woman or her as a person. I may disagree with some of the, you know, the flying and the stuff her legal team does, like with taking down the flight tracker, but that's not just her. She's probably just as shitty as any other rich person. She doesn't deserve more hate than any other rich person. But with all that said, I will bravely stand on a hill that no one has stood on before and say, I don't like her music. I know how profound, but I just don't. I don't get it. I get why it's popular. I get why it's so successful because I even said it last night. Like she, to her credit, found a way to make music that has enough, like it's palatable enough to enough people while also having enough juice to kind of be inspirational or evocative to enough people that it's not only able to be popular, but it's able to have that hold on people.
Yeah.
And look, she's developed this devil white girl magic that I can't explain to mind control people, and I respect it. Honestly, I wish I could do that. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
she could start her own nation if she wanted to. Who fucking knows? But I don't think she makes particularly special music. Music is special because if it finds someone at the right time, it can have an impact. And I know that's what her music has done for a lot of people. And so that's why I once again say if you like it and it means something to you, that is fine. I'm not her target audience. But I will say, as someone who has tried to give her an honest shot as a listener, honestly, multiple times, even as someone doing it as a part of this show, she's not that good. Is she bad? No. I think she's incredibly average to me. I'm not a music expert. I've listened to music a lot, like many of people have. That's not special. Even though they used to call me, Vasanth Music Ramdas. I'm sure a lot of people are deserving to be just called music, like I once was, before I fell so far. But like I
He
grew
is
up.
music Ramdas.
Yes. I grew up with a lot of like, Indian music, and then I ended up, learning and listening to like Western American music. And I've listened to a decent amount of music in my life. And at no point have I found what I've heard from her special enough that it deserves, like, to me, the talent she has displayed. Here's the thing, right? There's a lot of artists, like John Mayer is a good example from like a guitar standpoint. John Mayer is like a much better guitarist than his music would maybe suggest, right? Because his
Yeah.
songwriting is okay. He's got good songs, but he's not like got like a great catalog. But it's like undeniable that he's an incredibly proficient guitar player.
Mhm. Yeah.
Similarly, I'm not denying that Taylor Swift is capable of more vocal gymnastics or guitar mastery that just doesn't make it into the songs because she's not trying to make fucking math rock or whatever. And that's
By the
fine.
way, I got very nervous when you brought up John Mayer in such close proximity to Taylor Swift.
I just brought him up because I know he's a good example of someone who's like really, like everyone knows he's really good at something, but it doesn't show up in the music all the
Yeah.
time.
No, I
Right?
understand.
Same thing with her, right? So this is just what she's put on film. It's the game. I gotta judge you by your game.
Held tape. Yeah.
I gotta crunch the tape. And she's just super mid to me. I think she's incredibly average as a musician. I think her best trait is her songwriting. And I think that what I would rate as good. But I don't really rate any of her other skills as special. She's got a good voice. She's got a better voice than obviously like I can't sing for shit. But she has like a lot of people can sing. Honestly, there's a lot of people who can sing, but not a lot of people can sang with an A.
Mm.
And she can't. To me, she's a classic example of a good singer. There's a lot of good singers that make music, but she's not great to me. There are much greater vocalists, and this is where her fans cause issues because her fans will tell you she is one of the best vocalists ever. Are you smoking crack? Do your ears not work? Those $550 AirPod Maxes must not have great sound quality because in a timeline where Aretha Franklin made music, Nina Simone made music, Amy Winehouse made music, and we're saying she's one of Adele still makes music when she feels like it. And we're saying this is the greatest modern vocalist or greatest vocalist of all time. Just talking about woman. I mean, shit, Aretha, Nina, and Adele stand tall no matter what your qualifier is. But like, holy shit, what are you talking about? Most talented artist of all time? What are we doing? Prince exists, right? Like Stevie Wonder is still fucking alive. Like what are we talking about? This is what gets me frustrated. It's often not even her. It's the people who listen to her music who are not able to like things like a normal person likes things. A normal person likes things and tells you they like them and says it makes them happy. And you're happy for them because you like that person, let alone if you like the thing too. But the fan base is unable to just like the things. They like devote their whole lives to it and are like soul branded with the mark of Taylor Swift. It's ridiculous. And if you don't think I put my money where my mouth is, I have a list of every vinyl that I own that is by a female artist because people think if you don't like her, you're sexist. I have a list of every vinyl I own by a female artist that is not only an artist, I think, is better than her.
Call this man Mitt Romney. He's got binders full of women.
Exactly. There's not that many, honestly. I don't have that many records, but I have a list of every vinyl I own by a female artist who not only I think the album is better than anything from her discography, I think this individual is more talented than she's ever shown herself to be. Baby Rose, who we saw open for Vince Staple, way better vocalist than Taylor Swift is, and she doesn't even have as much music out. Slow Burn, great EP. Would listen to it over any Taylor Swift album. Snail Mail, incredible. Valentine, awesome album. SZA, awesome. Control, classic. Lauryn Hill, don't need to say anything else. Leve, awesome vocalist that invokes like an older era of music. And Axis is a range that is absurd to listen to. Like, you're like, how does someone do this? Kalila, Take Me Apart. Much more interesting album than anything that Miss Swift wants to put out. And guess what? She doesn't need to put anything interesting out because what she puts out sells. Who cares? And Solange, A Seat at the Table might be one of the best albums ever made. It might be the second best album ever made on this list behind Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Oh, I got you that one.
Thanks for that, bud. But that's my thing, right? It's like, I know I'm not saying anything brave. I'm not trying to make myself seem special. I just think she's incredibly average. And if you just go and listen to enough music and listen to enough genres, you will realize she is solid. But there's so much more music out there. And if you say that she is the best musician ever, it's the equivalent of never leaving your small town. You don't know any better. Okay. I've cooled off a little bit. I was letting the voices in my head get too loud, and by the voices I mean the imaginary Swifties on Twitter that I don't even go on anymore get in my brain. But yeah, I'll wrap it up. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. I am sorry not for my opinion. I am sorry that I lied and shamed this great journalistic, critical, and cultural institution that is the Half and Half podcast by juicing the scores of the Taylor Swift albums we reviewed. Now, I will say, Evermore is pretty good, and
Yep.
Folklore
Yep.
is the best. It's probably the best project, most interesting one to me. And I don't know, I'm not saying I would love her automatically, and she'd become like a beloved artist to me. But I think folk Taylor, folk country Taylor is a more intriguing artist to me than what pop Taylor has demonstrated. So the scores I gave those are probably pretty on line, maybe like a point or a half point higher. But I will admit, I was a little too nice to Midnight's in TTPD.
Here we go.
Midnight's, I don't remember what I gave it, but that's like a 4. And TTPD is more like a 3 or a 2 or something. The album is so fucking boring.
He's basically like, just listen to Aiden's scores on those, and you pretty much get to the right answer.
Yeah, Aiden scores with more piss and vinegar and like a smidge more sadness. But like, and like, I'm not gonna get into this now, but I just can't convince him. I can't pretend I'm someone I'm not. This is like a much less heroic and a much more shitty version of someone coming out. Is admitting they don't like a popular artist.
I mean, I think
I
think it's like just as brave, right? Like...
Yeah, and it definitely gets as much blowback as doing, actually coming out can potentially get, right? But I just can't. I can't deal with the fact that this artist's music won Album of the Year over To Pimp a Butterfly. I won't excuse it. It's
I won't excuse that.
It's as much of a crime as the Macklemore win is. That people like to pretend that the 1989 one's more justifiable. No, the fuck it isn't. One album I like 1989, like relatively to the other Taylor Swift albums. There's like a couple songs in there I don't mind. But like, holy hell, that album features Shake It Off, which is one of the worst fucking songs of all time, with the shittiest rap performance I've ever heard. I hate it when non-rap artists try and do rapper things musically, because it usually sucks ass. And why is it always white people that feel the need to do this? No one was asking you, random or popular white artists, what you would sound like as a rapper. Oh, it's supposed to be tongue-in-cheek and funny. It isn't. This is the same woman who did the shitty T-Pain thing. That T-Pain even admits was shitty. He just did it because he got a bag.
Shout out to
But anyway.
T-Pain.
Yeah, sure. But one album has Shake It Off, and the other one has like Wesley's Theory,
Shout
Blacker
out
the
Wesley's Theory.
Berry,
Shout out Black and Bear.
You,
These
you know,
walls.
Ain't Free, These Walls. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? I'm not someone who's like the music has to be complex to be good. No, it doesn't. There's a lot of very simple, straightforward music that is awesome. But when I am comparing two albums, and one of them is like a goddamn like musical like journey through like hip hop and jazz and funk, and the narrative is like about like survivor's guilt and like the black experience and uplifting yourself with art, and it is so many things. And the other album is a fun pop album. And to keep in mind, by the way, I'm saying all this about the Kendrick album. The music rocks too. It's not like the
Yeah.
music suffers for
Yeah.
everything else.
Well, that was the
I can't.
funniest thing was
I can't. I
when
can't. I can't do it. I
a
just can't
little
lie
bit
to myself.
a little bit back on the beef postmortem. The funniest thing is just when J. Cole said that To Pimp a Butterfly was boring, and the entire reaction of everyone was just like, dude, no, it isn't. Like, shut up.
Just lying. It's what
Just lying,
normies
man.
say when they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, his only good albums are Good Kid, Mad City, and Damn, and I guess I like GNX too."
Yeah.
Shut the fuck
Well, I
up.
think
You're
I think I
stupid.
think I
I'm
think
not here to be nice
GNX.
anymore. Fuck your opinions. You're wrong.
Dang.
It's just stupid to act like one of the best rappers of the modern era, if not, depending on who you ask, best rapper of all time,
Yeah,
who's
you know my
releasing
opinion on
boring
that.
work, even though it was like a seminal piece of music that has been like
Yeah.
written about a bajillion times and has sparked so many conversations. To act like that piece of music is boring because it didn't get you excited is dumb. You're looking for that in the wrong place. There's music that does what you want from other artists. Don't blame the artist that the music you got from them was not scratching that specific itch when the itch is being scratched by someone else.
Mhm. I think what I would say about all of this, I think, is like
Also, Midnight's winning album of the year was fucking stupid. That album's not. It's not good, and even if you like her, you don't think it's one of her best albums. You just don't.
I, I like that Vasant has been like holding this back for like 10 plus years.
I'm
He's
like tired of it. Like I did this to myself. This is my own fault.
You
So
did
really,
do this to yourself. That's
I'm
the
committing a
funniest part
sin of
about
my
all
own
this.
doing. I am my own worst enemy. But holy shit, like the amount of times I've just had to like just like because of me, the amount of stuff I made myself like just not act like I was cool with some of the garbage that she was putting out there. I will say I don't think I ever lied about how much I think Reputation is dog water. So like, you know,
Yeah, I mean
hot
that's
dog
an easy
water.
one. That's a layup right there.
Yeah, that's a Luka to LeBron outlet pass. As easy as it gets,
Absolutely.
brother.
That's
Um,
easy.
Yeah, I think with her, it's just like as a musician, I think she represents like a very palatable midpoint. There is a lot worse than her. She is never going to be the worst artist because there's way too much dog shit for her to ever even come close to that. So anyone who hates her more than I'm speaking, vocalizing, I wouldn't agree with them because I think she's good enough that she's not awful. Like she's
Yeah, I
the
mean,
middle
like,
point. And there's so
yeah.
much music better than her too. And that's why it drives me insane the discourse around her music because there's so much great, deep, thought out, like instrumentally lush and like insane and fun and sad and contemplative music. And to sit here and say she is the best is just ignorance.
And I
And
think like
my last thing, I keep cutting you off.
Yeah.
My last thing, I'm not getting into the white mediocrity stuff because that's its own thing. And there's people way smarter than me who articulate that way better. But all I'm saying is if a woman of color made the exact same music she made, you wouldn't really hear about her. In fact, there's a good chance that she doesn't exist because they weren't letting a woman of color go to Nashville and start making country music and get big. They just weren't going to let that happen. So that's my other thing with her is that this is just me. And if I'm wrong or I'm being stupid, cool. I think a big part of her success, she's white. It plays a role because, like I said, a person of color making the exact same type of music she's making is not this successful. That is just a fact. And if you want to disagree with me, that's fine. I guess we'll never know. And I'm not quoting someone when I say that. If I am quoting someone when I say that, they might be like a Nazi, maybe. And
They
I don't
are.
want
No,
to give them credit.
They've been just going outwardly saying like, "I love Hitler."
Yeah. So I would never want to like attribute that
Yeah.
quote to someone who is just an attention whore and a piece of shit. So
Yeah.
that's an original. I'm stealing it. That's my quote.
Mhm. So what I was gonna say, just to again to put a like pin on all that too, I think the important thing that Wasam's making a distinction about is that it's important to feel like you can share your opinions about these things. It's important like to and like we shouldn't let just like fake pressure from like online fans and whatever be like dictate your own discourse essentially. Or like dictate the discourse, you know? Like it's fine to have disagreements about things that you don't like that are popular. For example, like we were talking about Ian earlier. I think Ian sounds like the end credits music to the bad ending for hip hop, you know? But like that,
Mm.
but there are people that really like his music and like those people I would say are wrong. You know, like I'm not gonna give them any credit. I
But
would
you
say
can't
that they're
stop them
wrong.
from liking it or listening to it. We're not going to
Exactly, but
come
you can't
take away
stop
your
them.
your
Yeah.
vitals and your cardigans and your mugs and your commemorative whatevers.
Yeah, I'm not taking away your Ian vinyls if that's a thing that you own, which if
Those
you do,
exist.
I don't know, but if they do when you own one, seek help. So
I'll leave some hotlines in
you
in
don't
the
even
description.
like we need to like be patient with people that like Ian is like their favorite rapper. You know how like we talk about like with like if Drake is like there's that video that talks about like if Drake is your favorite rapper, then you might be a bad person. Honestly with like Ian fans, I think you need to like start to pull them away by introducing them to
Yeah, they're
like
like
take
14. You got
like
to give them some time.
yeah, like I think you need to like they're starting in a bad place, definitely. But you need to like wean them out with like start with like Take Care Drake, honestly, you know? Like it's mainstream, but it's also like, oh, there's like some like good songwriting in here and everything. And then you start to get them
And
into
then
like
one
the
day we'll
real
show them
like
D'Angelo.
exactly. And then you get to D'Angelo eventually, like just like start
And
to
then we'll
wean them
start
out.
going into like then we'll start
Yeah.
being like, so have you heard of Herbie Hancock? We'll just yank them into the funk world. But yeah, I get
Yeah.
what you mean. Like, and ultimately, like I said, I created this problem for myself. This is no one's fault. I'm not blaming Taylor Swift, which
Hmm.
who cares? I'm sure plenty of people blame her for all sorts of shit all day. She don't give a
Yeah.
shit. I'm not blaming her. I'm not blaming any specific person I know. So if you're listening to this and you think you are part of the problem, you are not. And like, even though I'm like directing a lot of my ire to like the monolith that is like the Swifty Hydra, you know, with all its heads and all its venom, it's ultimately
Hmm.
my fault for creating this sort of pressure. And you know, I think the lesson to take from this is I think Tyler the Creator tweeted it or said it once. With him, you can never be sure. And I know Swifties love his tweets, so I'm sure they'll find this if they've somehow listened this far without sharpening a pitchfork. Um, is like I think someone was talking to him about like because about like liking music, and he said like he basically said something along the lines of just like the music you like, you know, like don't feel like, oh, this is like a classic rap album, like everyone says it's really good, so I have to say it's my favorite. And he's like, no, if your favorite is something else, who cares if a lot of other people don't think it's the best? If you really
Hmm.
like it, you really like it. And at the end of the day, people will have their discourse and their opinions about your opinion, but you have to be confident in your opinion and be okay with how you feel. If you're confident in your opinion, you're able to have a discussion with someone about it, disagree, and still like the thing you like afterwards. So I think about how you said that when talking about just like people always putting like the same old albums on like their favorite lists without maybe admitting if they really like the music or they feel like they have to like the music. And I think about that here. And like it's not like I'm doing this with like someone who I don't know where her like ultimate cred lands in the music space as far as like her artistry, but like, you know, this isn't like probably the craziest person to have this dialogue about, but like, you know, let this be a lesson to you. Don't mess up like I have. I apologize for lying. I will be going away to you know, I'll be listening to um some Solange, maybe some Snail Mail, you know, maybe even listen to some Big Thief.
Okay.
And been listening to a little bit Big Thief here and there. You know, listen to some Tricot. Listen to music that I actually like, and stop lying about how I feel about things. Because the creamers deserve better than that. And I will warn you, if you do try to cancel me, I will find my way onto the America Only network, and we'll start talking about how Kendrick Lamar was genetically engineered in a lab to make us hate the police and destroy family values. So don't cancel me too hard. Otherwise, I'll do that and make the world a worse place while I make a lot of money.
Okay. I
That's
like
the end
that
of my
idea.
apology. That's the end of my apology.
All right. Yeah.
That was a long speech.
Yeah.
Not as long
So
as Adrian Brody's. Ah!
there we go. I was looking for a transition. Oscars.
Yeah, let's talk about them a little more in earnest
Yeah.
here. We watched them together as we talked about. And yeah, we can talk about Aiden. This is Aiden Movie Mangan. He still has that title, though.
Yeah.
Jason might
It's
take it
movie
away if you
Megan.
don't.
Yep.
If you don't make enough cinephiles, Jason might come snatch it
But
from you.
they can never take
Um,
that from me.
but yeah, like you take it away. Talk about the show, the winners, and sort of your overall thoughts, so we can get into it.
Yeah. So the Oscars were Sunday. Vasant and I, we both watched them, like we were saying at the beginning of this episode. I will come out right away and say this. This was probably one of the best ceremonies in a long time. Conan did great as a host. His jokes were pretty good. He had some funny bits. There were some particularly memorable moments, such as Ben Stiller having issues, quote unquote, during the production design um
Hmm.
presentation. The sandworm from Dune making an appearance.
Multiple times.
Multiple appearances, yes, because you know you got to use that bit twice, which is
Well, I mean,
expensive.
he deserves it. I mean, he's been getting his education as a musician, and he's a big
Absolutely,
moment
absolutely. There's a big
for him.
moment. Proud of him.
Conan's opening, the way he like came out,
Yeah,
that was
him come.
awesome.
Yeah, just straight up gore on my Oscars broadcast.
Yeah, him coming out of Demi Moore's body,
Yeah,
the substance scene essentially is what they. It
yeah,
was actually really
that's
well. It
pretty
was
good.
really well edited and everything too.
Hmm.
Um, I also thought Conan. I liked his little like musical number. It was really short that he did before kind of like getting into the actual awards. But I thought that was kind of goofy
Yeah.
and funny.
So yeah, so Conan, he was a much better host than Kimmel was. He also just seemed to genuinely enjoy movies, which you never got that impression from Kimmel. Kimmel
Hmm.
hosted the Oscars so many times, and every single time it looked like he'd rather be somewhere else. Um, he was I get like as someone who loves movies and cares about movies a lot, I think that the fact that they invited him back multiple times, one thing, I'm sure it's a political thing by the network, I get that, but I will also say this, it is shameful because he was a horrible host. Um, and he just was terrible every single time. Um, Now for some of the big stories of the night. And as someone who saw, I have seen 8 of the 10 Best Picture nominees. I have not seen I'm Still Here, and I have not seen Nickel Boys, and I do want to watch both of them. Just have not gotten a chance to yet. They did not show at any theaters near me. So, and you
Yeah,
know
you
me,
said that was
streaming.
difficult, like in particular for Nickel Boys, right? You said just
Yeah,
like
Nickel Boys had
dead
like
zone
nothing.
around you
Yeah,
for some
Nickel Boys
reason.
had I think quite literally nothing around me. I'm Still Here. I think was showing in some places in Philly, and I never got the chance to go out there for it. Um, I say this all to say that I think that to start off with the big award of Best Picture, The winner was Anora, and Anora is an indie movie distributed by Neon, directed, written, and edited by Sean Baker, who won an Oscar for all three of those. Um,
Had like an Iron Man Oscars, like
yeah,
just
he he
every
he he walked
category
away
he
with
was
four
in.
Oscars, which is crazy. I think that Anora was a great choice for Best Picture. Um, I really love Anora. I think it's really great. It definitely is within like the top three movies I saw last year. Um, I would say probably number three for me, but maybe that's a cinephile for later. I don't know. We'll see. Now the Oscars are done. And everyone's moved on from 2024.
That was a great time to go back to
Now it's a
2024.
great time. You know, we've had enough time to
Let's
reflect.
bring
You
it
know,
back,
we've
guys.
had enough time
Remember
to
how great 2024 was? Let's
yeah.
bring it back. Let's do it again.
After reflecting at the end of Q1, we can now say what was good about 2024. Yeah, Enora is, in my opinion, I think the first third of Enora is pretty good. I think the second third of Enora is fantastic. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, you said it
It
becomes just like a
becomes
straight up
it
comedy.
becomes just like a screwball comedy about these three like Russian gangsters essentially, and like interacting with Enora. And it's just I was rolling in my recliner chair, genuinely laughing. They were so funny. And I think the last third is also really good. So I really like Nora. I think that I wanted Demi Moore to get Best Actress, but I think also that Mikey Madison for Best Actress was more than worthy. She was excellent in the lead role, and that movie
That's
does
the
not work
only
without her.
category that
Mhm.
I've seen like, and I'm not as as we've noted in our prior segment, being less online is it clearly allowed me to understand who I am and been better for me. But from what I do know, I think that's the one that's getting the most debate is the best actress role. But generally, it seems like a lot of people are just like, it would have been cool for Demi Moore, especially because she did put up like a worthy performance. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who haven't seen Honora are saying like, oh, this young girl's just winning it because like there's a lot of like weird discourse that's kind of like, oh, well, like the point of the substance has been proven because the young 25-year-old won Best Actress and not the in quotes old
Which
washed up
that that's
50-year-old actress, which
that's
I
not
think
the
is
point of the
ridiculous.
substance and is very mean to Demi Moore, honestly.
It's also just like
Yeah.
completely invalidating to
Yeah.
Mikey
To
Madison,
Mikey
and you saw the
Madison, yeah.
movie. Seemed like she
Mhm.
was deserving. It was,
She was
you
great.
know.
She was great.
Did you ever? Who was your pick? Did you have Demi Moore
I
picked
picked
on
I
your?
picked I picked Demi Moore. I thought she was gonna win.
But
Uh
I mean, Mikey Madison, you were like, it didn't seem like it was like a complete shock. You're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, and then
I
it's
was
like,
shocked. I was shocked she won because she's so young. She's 25, so like good for her
yeah.
that she's
Usually they kind of
already
like are like, oh, if you're good,
yeah.
you'll come back and get it
Exactly.
later.
Like I'm really like I was shocked that they gave it to her when she was so young, especially like when so much like she's not the youngest Best Actress winner, so there was no discourse around her age. But when there was so much discourse about Timothy Chalamet's age entering this, about him potentially being the youngest Best Actor winner,
hmm
um, which he wound up not winning, but I'm like fairly certain he was probably second place in votes
You,
to Adrian
you and me
Brody.
were also talking that we just feel like he's gonna win a bunch of
He
Oscars. Like
will.
he's gonna be back
He's gonna
here.
get these Oscars. Yeah, he'll be back. He's chasing greatness. He said it. Yeah, I think Anora was very much worthy of like all the awards that it won. I was shocked at how many it did win just based off the fact that it was a movie with such a small budget, $6 million.
It's like a true indie film, like from
True
my
indie film.
understanding. Small
Yeah.
budget, the distributor, someone who really only distributes those type of movies.
Yeah, Neon, which I will say, Neon has done an excellent job these past 2 years with finding interesting and out of the box indie movies to distribute. And they, because of Neon's efforts, um, a lot of movies have gotten wide theatrical distribution that may not have. And a lot of horror movies, particularly, and these like indie dramas that deserve more attention than they may have gotten from another distributor that would have probably just dumped it in to streaming. So Neon's theatrical commitment, I think, as a fan of movies and a fan of movie theaters, I really, really love. And I am I will support Neon like uncritically,
Yeah, I mean that's
unless something bad is discovered about them.
yeah, I think it's really cool, like understanding a little bit of like the background of just the film and how it was made and like smaller crew and everything about it. And
Yeah.
I also like just from like that like story is very like cool to see it win a bunch of stuff. Also, the dumbest story to me going into the show that I learned from Aiden was people not wanting Honora to win because Sean Baker was allegedly conservative based on very tenuous evidence
It's
at
so
best.
tenuous. It's so tenuous. It's like, oh, he follows some accounts. It's like, yeah. He makes movies. Maybe he wants to see like how the other side is living. I'm not even saying that he's not conservative. I'm not saying that he's conservative, but like this whole idea that your social media, like whoever you follow on there, dictates your worldview and entirely is expressive of your worldview is just such a stupid idea. I'm
Yeah, it's
sorry,
like Peggy.
it's stupid.
It's like Peggy said on Protect the Cross, where he was like, "Your politics is a gang sign." Like,
Yeah.
like to just use that line, like people like. I mean, I get it. Someone who's like very like openly vitriolic, honestly, about
Yeah.
like the other side, generally, but like I agree with you where like obviously like there's cases where like who a filmmaker is as a person, it's hard to ignore. Polanski comes to mind, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Woody Allen, like there's a lot of people where like them being like really bad people in real life can like seep in, into the art. And with Sean Baker, like I just there wasn't enough there to suggest that like at like the most negative thing is he's what maybe mildly conservative. Does that mean this movie that he clearly worked very hard to make, that everyone involved, actors, editing, sound, like the whole team that worked on the movie doesn't deserve recognition because of one guy's maybe political beliefs? And you
And
sent
like
me something
all,
today
but
where
like
people are
it's
like, actually, maybe he isn't.
yeah, and like all of his movies are about like disenfranchised populations in the US. Like that's not like
Yeah, the
if
speeches.
it's not consistent with what people think his political identity is. And if his political identity, if he votes one way versus like whatever, I don't know, man. Okay, but none of us know that, and this whole discourse around that is the stupidest thing that we had entering the Oscars
Not
and
to
leaving the
mention
Oscars.
his during one of his, because he won multiple times, one of his speeches, and during Mikey Madison's speech, they gave a lot of credit to the sex workers and the
They had
organizations related to sex workers
they
that they
had sex
worked with.
workers as consultants for the movie.
They
Like they were
clearly
like
wanted to
being
tell the
very
story
intentional.
properly.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing, right? Like, ultimately, I don't know what Sean Baker believes, but I would argue as long as it's not really crossing any ethical boundaries where it's hard to ignore for the average person, it should not take away from how good a film is and if it should win fucking awards. If he directed a movie the best, he's gonna win Best Director.
Yeah.
Sorry, it should win Best Picture if it's deemed to be the best picture. I'm not saying the Academy always makes the right choices, but for
Yeah,
that
and
to be
like
people's
the and of
logic
course
that
the
him and
Academy,
all the people involved in the movie
yeah.
shouldn't have gotten the awards they did, it's ridiculous.
And
And it's
I
based on like
will
no evidence too, so that's
yeah.
also dumb.
And I want to say again too that like the Academy is not even like the best measure of like what makes a great film because the Academy can be bought. That is a fact.
And they're
For your
stupid. I
consider
mean, Amelia
yeah.
Perez is here in these award
We
categories.
I was gonna get to Amelia Perez. um they're like the Academy can be bought, they can be influenced. Like that, like for your consideration campaigns are a thing for reasons because people want them to see their movie over other ones and they will try and
Butter
influence
you
their
up to
vote and
get you to
butter you
do it.
up,
Yeah.
whatever. Um, that's all. I get that. That's fine. Like it's all part of it. Would I personally, if I was a member of the Academy, be impressed because someone brought us because like there was a screening where the director actually showed up to like introduce it? No, no. I don't get impressed by things like that personally. However, we live in a material world. I get that. Um, Speaking of potentially being bought off, Amelia Perez.
Real quick before we get on dunking on Amelia Perez, I do also want to say, as someone who is also starting to get into Succession after everyone's watched it, because
Oh
I'm
yeah, yeah.
so with the times. Huge shout out to Kieran Culkin winning for A Real Pain.
Deserved. It was a good performance. Really good
Yeah,
performance.
and he's been a really good actor for a bit now, and it's really cool to see his progression as an actor. Obviously,
Yep.
child related to Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin, and
Yep.
to where he's at now. Didn't win, but shout out to Jeremy Strong for just continuing to be like a really good actor. I didn't
Yeah.
really know about him prior to even like I didn't watch Succession, but I heard of him from Succession. I didn't really know much about him, but it feels like since then he's just become like just a good fucking actor, man. Just someone who gets cast in roles because people know he'll crush it. He did a great job, so cool that he got nominated. Also, want to give a shout out to Flow, a movie that I do plan on
Yeah.
seeing, and I
Yeah.
think it's really awesome that it won. Really pretty cool concept for like the way the movie's done. It's awesome
Yeah.
to see,
Congratulations to
and it's
the
awesome to see
small team
innovative
from
animation.
Latvia. Yeah, a small team
Yeah,
from Latvia winning best animated feature. I think its
awesome
budget
stuff.
was only like a few $1 million too.
Yeah,
Like it is.
insane. Like, if we're talking about the true art of independent film with Honora, also Flow deserves
Yeah.
that. Was also up for best foreign international film, but it won best animated picture, so I doubt it was going to win both. And shout out to The Wild Robot. That's a great movie. Didn't win, but I think people
Got some
understand that it's a good
nominations.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last shout out I want to give is for the documentary feature film duo behind No Other Land, film about Palestine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that conflict. And I thought the speech was really nice and powerful, calling out the US for being an obstacle in the way of peace, which we have been.
Yep.
So I think it was really great to see them win. I know a lot of people are really happy. A lot of people like their speech. Of course, people are twisting it in a lot of fucked up ways and calling it anti-Semitic, but people who have reason understand what that speech meant, and I thought it was really cool. So I just wanted to shout out those winners, Aiden, before we dunked on Amelia Perez. So
Yeah, I want to and thank you for those are definitely important feats of the
oh,
last
real quick. Also,
show. Yeah.
Paul Tazwell, first black man to win best costume design.
Yeah, that's
Insane
incredible.
that
Yeah.
that took this long because I talked to Aiden when it happened. I was like, so much of like I know
So much of
fashion in
fashion and every
movies is different, but yeah,
yeah.
fashion and what's cool and like like striking things from like an aesthetic standpoint, it comes from black culture. So the fact that a black man, it took this long for someone to win that award is insane. But shout out to him. It clearly meant a lot to him. It was really cool to see him win the award. It was really
He had a
cool
great
when
suit.
he
He had a great
oh,
suit
he
too.
looked. He
Yeah, he
probably
looks
had my
great. Yeah.
favorite fit of the night.
Yeah. He looks
But it was really
awesome.
cool when he said that he was the first black man to win this award, and like
Mhm.
a lot of like Coleman Domingo, Cynthia from Wicked, and others like stood up and gave him like a standing ovation. It's very sweet. So I wanted to point that out as well. But that's all I've
Yeah.
got as far as big moments.
Yeah. Now for me to talk about the great Amelia Perez debacle of 2025.
A movie that seems to be universally panned by like people who've seen it. I know critics probably
So
gave it like decent scores, but
it got decent reviews from critics.
72% is still not that good.
It's divisive by critics. I have seen Amelia Perez, and if it had wound up, it was nominated for 13 different Oscars. It won 2. Zoe Saldana won for actress in a supporting role. I thought she was pretty good in Amelia Perez. I think it's my least favorite performance of all the ones nominated for actress in a supporting role, and I don't just say
Yeah, I
that to
mean,
be a
it's
hater.
cool for her. Like,
It's
she's
cool for
been
her.
a
She's a
good
good
actress for a
actress. Yeah,
long
like,
time, so it's
but
cool.
she should have
And her
won.
speech
She
was
should
really
have.
sweet. It meant a
She should
lot
have
to
won
her,
it
but
for. She should have won it for Neytiri. Like, let's just be real here. Neytiri in the way of water too. The Navi will rise again. Don't worry. This injustice will be rectified.
Mhm.
So it's still, in my opinion, I think every other person and actress in the supporting role had a better performance. I'm just gonna say it, put that out there. Zoe Saldana's is definitely impressive because she did her she also did the singing, the choreograph. But I would argue so did Ariana Grande in Wicked and Monica Barbaro in A Complete Unknown, and those performances are better just generally. Felicity Jones stole scenes in the back half of The Brutalist, and Isabella Rossellini, her role was small in Conclave, but she was great.
Yeah,
Um,
just
and let's not again, Zoe Saldana, I thought her performance in Amelia Perez was good too. I'm not trying
Probably
to
the
take
best
away.
performance in that
It
movie.
is the best performance in a really bad movie, which I'm burying the lead for a little bit. If it had wound up winning Best Picture, which it looked like it was the front runner for before the controversy with its lead actress Carla Sofia Gasson had happened, it would have probably been the worst Best Picture winner ever.
By like a long shot, it seems
Yeah,
like, because
like
I have not watched
crash,
it.
your watch is over. Like that's what would have
Crash's
happened.
reign is over.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've watched it, so I'm leaving this
It,
to you. But as someone who's like read some of the discourse around it, there's multiple people who are like Mexican, Spanish speakers who find the depiction of the drug cartel problem incredibly awful and
yeah.
insensitive and just not accurate. The Spanish, apparently spoken by some of the actors, is really awful. Selena Gomez is a highlight
This
as far
is
as
so
being awful.
bad. Oh my
And
God.
then a lot of people also point out that like it feels like this movie is like doing more of like, because obviously the
Yeah.
lead
I
actor
will wait, I will say that. Okay, I will say. Selena Gomez's Spanish is not great in that movie. However, her character is not native to Mexico. So I will give that as an excuse
as an
potentially.
excuse for in an otherwise
Yeah.
what you described as one of the worst acting performances you've ever seen.
No, I didn't
Um,
say I've ever seen, but she was bad in that movie. She was very bad in that
yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also like the way obviously like the lead actress is trans and the character
Mhm.
she plays transitions, right? So there's like that's a big component of the lead's real life and then the character she's playing in the movie. But people have said that like it feels like some of the like what the Academy's justification of this is like it's like, oh, we're being progressive, but the depiction, like you can already get into it, like narratively the way they like handle the transition and like what it does for the character and the plot just feels like incredibly odd and
Yeah,
is probably just it's not good representation is what I'm
it's
trying to
not good
get at.
representation in the sense that like what I this is a little bit of a tightrope, but what I don't like is that it seems like the movie just treats like Amelia as completely separate from her past actions, you know, as a drug lord who has like resulted in like who's killed people pretty much, directly
Yeah,
and
like the dead
indirectly.
name is a thing, but that
Yeah,
doesn't mean like your actions die too. Like that's not how
exactly.
that
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, like and like by the end of the movie, Zoe Saldana's character is crying about how Amelia is like her best friend, and I'm like, Amelia Perez is not your best friend, lady. Like if she is, ooh, you
Hey,
know?
remember when they went for best
Um,
song, they said this is about ending corruption.
yes.
Okay.
Finally, we're standing up to broadly corruption. Yes,
And a
that was
room full
that.
of the
It's
Hollywood elite. Great job,
Yeah,
buddy.
El Mal, the best original song winner, is like, in my opinion, a bad song. I also think thematically within the movie, it doesn't work. Because the whole idea behind it is like, wow, we're taking down all these corrupt people now. But the only thing is like, what's happening in that scene is Amelia is now started like in her new life, a not a business, a charity. I see I only have like 3 minutes left, so we'll have to do one more call after this. But a charity to connect basically people with Jane Doe's and John Smiths that have been found dead, and try and like find like reconnect them with their family as a way to kind of like atone for her past life, you know?
Mhm.
However, one thing that never happens, I was like, well, that seems like kind of like a slam dunk. They never run into like the moral quandary of her running into like someone that she killed, which is like
That
a
would have at
very
least made the narrative more compelling, right? That would have
yeah,
probably
that's
honestly
like
added like a lot of layers to the movie.
that's an interesting problem then, because you can see like at that point if she's like genuinely changed versus just being like, oh, these are things I'm doing so people think I've changed, you know?
Mhm.
Um, but so this like the song El Mal, which I believe means the bad in Spanish. I can't say my Spanish is great, but I'm pretty sure Mal means
The
bad.
translation does not do the title many favors.
No, yeah, but
The bad.
the bad is about like, look at all these corrupt men and women in this room donating, they will be brought down, and like nothing happens with that. Like it's not like a plot, it's not like a part of the plot. It's just like, oh no, they're like doing a charity dinner to like raise money, and just always Aldana is just like, this person like cheated on their wife, and this person like drowned a kitten, and this like it's like I
Yeah,
don't
a
like
song that
it's
I will say I did kind of like the
yeah
way it was shot. Like they kind of like it's like the lights are basically they're like blacked out in the sense like there's no like real color. It's just the tables and the people
yeah
sitting on them that have light on them, and then
yeah
she's kind of like dancing in between, and everyone else around her kind of like freezes. Like that
yeah.
stuff's done. Like there's clearly like a nice vision to that, but like based on what you're saying, what is the point in kind of calling out this turn for a character and also this fight against corruption when both don't really come to fruition? You're just setting up something that never really
That
happens.
never happens.
And I'm
Yeah,
supposed to be like excited
and
about
so
this for
and
the
like
second part of the movie or
there
like
there
whatever.
there are so many songs in this movie, and all of them are bad. It's impressive that they didn't accidentally make a good one, because like you would think if you put like a xylophone in front of a monkey, after about like 150 attempts, it would come up with a rhythm that
Jesus,
is like
Aiden. Oh my
there is
God.
some that like it would come up with a rhythm eventually that would be kind of pleasant to the human ear. The songwriters to Amelia Perez had all the resources that Netflix probably would have provided them and could not do this. Like it's amazing. Um
Hey
Mi
man, a
Camino,
musical
which
won
was
some awards at the Oscar. Oh, Wicked?
yeah.
No.
No.
I mean, Wicked won one, I think, which was the
Yeah.
fashion design, I
Yeah, which
think.
is fine. Yeah.
No, that's I think it's
We
funny
have
that Amelia Perez, a worse movie, won more
yes.
Oscars as
It
a
was
musical
nominated for
than
more as
Wicked
well.
did.
We have less than a minute left on this call, so we'll move to the next one, but I'll comment a little bit more about
Yeah, we'll
the
wrap
Amelia
up
Perez and
with
wrap up. So
the Amelia Perez discourse. Yeah, we'll be right back.
yeah.
Okay, then let's wrap up the Amelia Perez debacle. The debacle being the presence of the movie at the Oscars.
Absolutely, yeah. The the other thing I was going to comment about the best original song, when I will say this, El Mal is more memorable than the other song that was nominated for best original song from Amelia Perez called Mi Camino.
Hmm.
Um, Mi Camino is such a nothing song that's just sung by Selena Gomez, and it's just so boring.
Selena Gomez
Like,
could have had an Oscar.
yeah, she could have had an Oscar. She doesn't. The world is unchanged by that.
Hey, don't
um,
be. Hey, listen, man, you better watch out. She gonna
what?
stop using IG for 8 minutes if you don't calm down.
Yeah. Also, when the God, the horrible moment of them winning Best Original Song and the one lady songwriter singing another song from the movie for like 15 seconds.
And then
Oh,
saying like,
oh.
like to ending corruption. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, to ending corruption. Oh wow, what a social cause. Thank you. The
It's
movie
we talked
stands
about this
for
before, right?
nothing.
How
Like
like
that's
it's
like yeah.
annoying when people
Yeah.
obviously everyone wants to end negative things like racism, corruption, well, maybe not everyone, sexism, etc.
Yeah.
We have those people in our government, unfortunately. But like it's good to have those intents, right? But like what are we gonna do? Like what are the actions? What are the specific things you want to target? Just blanket statements saying that isn't doing anything, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
saying it. It's like black square
But
posting.
it's so no, it is. It is like the black square posting. And it's so funny too, because like my criticism of the song's like message within the movie is also like identical to the criticism of just throwing that out there in the speech. Like we're like to ending corruption. It's like okay, like El Mal definitely is gonna be a force for social change. Yeah, absolutely. It's like it's just like the slacktivism type thing, where it's like, hey, you
Yeah,
wrote a song
exactly.
where it's like, stop being a naughty boy in
In a movie
government.
where a
Like,
drug lord who killed people never really has to answer for their
yeah,
crimes.
like yeah, it's there's also other things that Amelia does that are like deeply disturbing. That like again, Zoe Saldana's
In the
character is
film
like,
or on
she's
her
my best
Twitter.
friend. Both.
Hey, you
So
should
a
probably
little
mention that to people who don't know about the lead actress.
yeah, the lead actress. I'm not gonna go into everything here because like we're pretty much wrapping up the
That could
episode
also
here,
be
but
its own episode, honestly.
it honestly could have been if we were like making episodes at the time this come out. I think the controversies mostly come and went at this point, but like she tweeted a bunch of, and like I'm not saying that the things that were said are no longer offensive because it has come and went. It's just that I don't think anyone is going to be interested in talking about Amelia Perez past Sunday. Um because it is not a movie with enough substance to last. Her Twitter was full of like racist and like xenophobic tweets, and it is very disappointing to see that from the first ever trans actor nominated for a Oscar. Obviously I would never root for that to happen to someone that is like having such a breakthrough for trans actors, you know? It's unfortunate that this was the situation, but I mean, like, we judge everyone as people, you know? Like, we, like, that's like, it is what it is. Like, just because there is an identity that, just because someone has a certain identity does not excuse that behavior. So that's what I would say about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes without saying, is like, obviously, I'm sure she's gone through plenty of struggles because of her identity, but yeah, you
Absolutely, yeah.
can't be just awful.
You can't be racist. You can't be
Yeah,
racist.
you just can't be racist. Like, let's
Can't be
just stop beating
racist.
around the bush. You can't be racist. I don't care what your
Yeah.
problem is. You can't be racist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So that is all say again to end it on more of a happy note
the
because
movie
the
barely
Oscars
won, honestly, right? And
yeah,
like Zoe
despite all of its
Saldana winning didn't
nominations,
hurt that much. It didn't seem like it meant a lot to
yeah,
her. She's been around for a long time, so you can kind of let it
yeah,
slide and you move on.
yeah, and you move on. And I will just say that this Oscars, it was well done. It was a good show. I am happy. I am like at least okay with most of the wins, you
Yeah,
know.
there isn't like a huge
Um,
like that's what's interesting about this Oscar. It's sort of it feels like it's going to kind of come and go, and that's like a good thing, right? Like it
yeah,
happened, it moved smoothly. There's some funny jokes, some bits
yeah.
that people liked, but ultimately the spectacle of the show didn't like overdo it. They kind of moved through the different awards with like I mean it's a long it ran long, but like they
Mhm.
moved I think pretty well. Um, it was mostly the commercial breaks, obviously, that kind of killed like that add to that runtime. And then
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, there wasn't like the big like there's no like Moonlight or even like a Lily Gladstone, Emma Stone type of robbery. Like I know some people are
Yeah.
trying to do that with the Demi Moore stuff, but like I think
But Mikey was great. Like it is what it
yeah,
is. Mikey was great.
yeah,
She was just as deserving as Demi was. Like it's
like
just
you
it is
said
what
when we
it
were
is.
watching, the gap between Lily Gladstone and a really good Emma Stone performance was way bigger than
But
like
much wider.
much
Yes.
wider than like a really tight like a gap between Mikey and Demi that basically
This truly felt like 1A and 1B to me. Like I would have been like, yeah, either like I was not upset at Demi Moore losing, you know? I
yeah.
wanted it for her. Um
Don't let Anna hear you say that. She's gonna make you sleep on the couch, brother.
what?
That you're not
Saying that
upset that Demi Moore didn't win.
I know she seemed upset by it.
She was the
I
substance's biggest soldier, and I respect her for it because
yeah.
I also really like the substance.
Yeah, I wanted it for Demi Moore. I thought that would be great for her to have that with like for her career now. But I also think it's equally great for Mikey Madison to have it in her career. So I'm incredibly happy for Mikey Madison because it was very deserving.
And her speech, it was kind of cute as she was like, "I'm so nervous," and she was like, "I got paper. I gotta go pull it out. I'm gonna run through everything."
Yeah.
Um. So
And
yeah, Oscars.
she's yeah. I was to say, Mikey, she's got a great career ahead of her. Like, just obviously she does. Like, I don't need
And
to say
Timothy,
that to like, yeah. And Timothy Chalamet, his
yeah, I was
time is
gonna say
coming.
he walked away with nothing, but he's our white boy with the sauce. He'll be here
Yeah,
again. Don't worry.
he's on his
Um,
way. Yeah, I will say one last thing though. The actors in the leading role, um, I think all four of those actors are likely to win an Oscar in the future, honestly.
incredible group of
I
Adrian
think
Brody, Chalamet, Coleman Domingo,
yeah.
um, Sebastian
Ray
Stan,
Fiennes,
and
Sebastian
Ray
Stan.
Fiennes. Like,
Yeah.
and Ray Fiennes has
I
won an
think
Oscar, right?
no, Ray Fiennes has never won one. He's been
What the fuck?
nominated three
Okay, give him an
times.
Oscar, guys.
Yeah.
Come on, let's get it
So
to him.
I think Chalamet is incredibly likely to win one in the future. I think Coleman Domingo is incredibly likely to win one in the future. I think Sebastian Stan is incredibly likely to win one in the future. And the fact that Ray Fiennes has been nominated three times and has not won makes me think that he's less likely to win, but I still think his time could come,
But if he
you
gets
know?
another nom at some point, that might be like he's due. He might
He's
get one
due.
of
Yeah,
those. Like he's
exactly.
due.
But I think there's a chance his time could still come. Ray Fiennes is a
Yes.
great actor. I'd be happy for him if he won.
Yeah.
Um, So I will say, I think the actor in leading role was like particularly stacked this year. And I think Adrian Brody was a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's all I'll say about that. But
There you go. Yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, I'm hungry. I'm sure you are too.
I'm hungry
It's
too.
late.
Yeah.
And we're not getting played off, but our stomachs are playing us off. So,
Yep.
you know, they call us the Adrian Brody of podcasts. We lived up to that name today, and we hope you enjoyed listening to us, listening to my apology. Once again, I'm very sorry for lying to you, my beloved creamers. I'll never do that again. And a little bit of Oscars breakdown of what was ultimately a pretty good ceremony. So I think that's it, Aiden. So if you're ready, you can leave them with the usual.
Stay creamy.
Stay creamy. And in honor of the Oscars, stay golden too. Why not? Creamy
Stay
and golden.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a nice piece of pound cake. That's how
Stay
hungry I am just
golden.
thinking
Stay
of food.
golden, pony boy.
There you go. Peace
And we'll
out.
see you, space cowboy.